Good morning, my neighbours!
Ladies and gents, it's Friday, which means, of course, it's live podcast day tonight at 7:30. But in the meantime, it's time for an alternative paper review. First up to the eye this morning, workers to get the right to ignore their emails under new rules. This is a story that we are all set to benefit from a radical expansion in workers' rights in the British labour market. But hold on to your champagne corks for but a moment, because I am sorry to tell you, it does fall short of expanding things like corporate healthcare to cover your nearest and dearest, your wife and kids if they happen to get sick. It does fall short of forcing companies to contribute more to your corporate pension, to your kitty, so you might have something approaching living wage in your autumn years, in your retirement. It does also fall short of forcing companies to set up some sort of corporate childcare scheme, so you could be freed up and return to the office and contribute to fixing Britain's productivity crisis. There will be no free coffees, no subsidised food, and there will be no compensating you for your commuting time, which could inarguably be said to be no longer your free time. There's none of that. So, what do we get in this radical expansion of workers' rights? Well, you will soon have the right to ignore your company's emails. All right. Right, okay. Well, like, all the time? No. Just like after hours. Through the weekend. Right. I mean, don't people do that already? Yeah. I mean, most people just, close their laptop. They no longer answer emails or whatever. Like, once they finish their job for the day or the weekend, they just, go back to their normal lives. But this is about your employer. Like, your employer can no longer expect you to read or respond to emails. Okay. And this is legally now, is it? So if I miss an email on Saturday and then something really bad happens, and then my boss and HR say, "Oh, you should have been keeping an eye on your emails," right? Then legally I can take them to a tribunal and get damages and pay off my mortgage. Like, legally I'm protected now. No, not right now. No, it's actually a voluntary scheme that some businesses may or may not opt into. I see. Right, let's move on, shall we? Over to the Daily Mail now. Judge who spoke for all of us on eco-fanatics. This is a story that yesterday, amidst the prisons crisis in which most of the UK's prisons are over 100% capacity, like there's no space, there's no room at the inn to put new violent offenders, to such an extent that existing offenders, convicts, are having their sentences diluted to 40% of time served, so they can just get them out again and bring in the newbies, right? Amidst that, some judge somewhere has decided that top of the priority list to jail new offenders should be the guys who are warning us about climate change. And never one to miss an opportunity to make themselves look out of touch and patently ridiculous, here's the Mail running in, saying, "Judge who spoke for all of us." All of us! All of us, you, me, the general public, everyone out there. It's wild, isn't it? Because if you look at recent studies, they overwhelmingly return a verdict of support and compassion for these kinds of issues. Also, to add a couple more droplets of dystopian draconia to your morning shot of ridiculum, these people were not jailed for just 3 months for a little I'll chain myself to the door kind of protest that got a bit out of hand. They have been sentenced to 4 and 5 years in prison just for protesting. So really, this headline should say, there is a judge who spoke for very few of us and dished out some draconian, disproportionate sentences yesterday. Still, if you're looking for some solace to take away from this, some uplifting angle, some way of making it good news, firstly, what are you doing on this channel? That's not what we do here. Sounds like you're lost. Maybe you should go and check out The Trawl. But secondly, maybe we should just take a minute to celebrate the Daily Mail finally respecting the verdict of judges. I guess we've come a long way since 2017. Really want it spelling out for you just how ridiculous and over the top those sentences are. Last night there was a riot in Leeds in which a police car was toppled over and a bus... And the police will catch those guys. They'll be on CCTV or witnesses or whatever. They will end up catching them. And those guys will probably go to prison for less time than the eco-activists. If not for any other reason than the fact that Leeds' own prison is itself the most overpopulated prison in the entirety of the formerly Great Britain. Finally, to the FT, who say that Obama and Pelosi are adding to doubts over Biden's chances in the White House race. And this is a story that has been echoed across the front pages of Fleet Street this morning. The idea that Joe Biden is actually very, very close now to conceding that he cannot beat Donald Trump, that his mental faculties are not necessarily top of their game right now, and probably the Democrat Party are going to try to install a different candidate to go against Trump for this November election. You know, it's a good old-fashioned switch out. It's where the guy that you previously cast, now there's some problems, and so relatively last minute, you switch him out for a new guy. You know, recast the role, hope everybody gets on board with it. Biden is basically, at this stage, granddad in the only fools and horses of geopolitics, which weirdly would probably make Gavin Newsom Uncle Albert, wouldn't it? I'm not sure he would be particularly happy with that. However, all anybody's saying is it's time for him to go. Nobody's really rooting for him anymore. He's sliding down even further in the polls since Trump's assassination attempt. Basically, where we're at now is that it's a when, right? Rather than an if. Unless, when Biden is finally told that he's just got to, eject and walk out, unless he says that he never got the email. It was sent outside of working hours.
Nuclear war and climate change keep raging. The oil's running out.